Okay, so we're officially in February seeds to start when you garden in a cold climate. So that's today's video because I noticed that there was a massive trend in my video from last year on seeds to start in February, starting to climb up the ranks. So I thought, let's do a 2026 version of this, something that has a little bit different information. And if you're a veteran of the geek free, you're probably wondering, Ashley, what the heck, where are you? I am at the farm. And that is a tractor behind me. A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. And I love the geek fruit too much to just not film or get you guys content. So here we are, filming in shop for funsies. Now, if you don't know who I am, hi, hello, my name's Ashley. I have a bachelor's of science in soil science. I like to take said science and apply it to all things plants and soil. And I obviously have farm space to garden in. But most of my gardening takes place in the city, in raised beds and containers and that sort of thing. So I'm a normie, just like the rest of you, living in the concrete jungle. This isn't my norm every day by any stretch of imagination. So when it comes to February, it is kind of that awkward month where it's still too soon to start a lot of things, and starting a lot of things is going to cause you stress versus the other token is it's getting to be late for some things to be started, and it's last call for some of the seeds to start in a cold climate. So it's an awkward transition season. I would say February and March are kind of those two. You got to hone in on what you want to do and really decide what you want the garden to look like earlier in the year if you want to achieve this. But if none of these plants make it onto your list of must-haves, then you're good. You're good to go. So the name of the game when choosing what we want to start in February is completely based off of plant physiology. So there's a couple things we're looking for when it comes to plants and how they respond to the world around them. Number one are plants with longer germination rates. These are the guys that are really stubborn. Maybe they need some vernalization, so that's the cooling or putting in the fridge. Maybe they need heat mats, so they need some sort of heat below. That's a good sign of something that has a longer germination rate. Packaging says it has a longer germination rate. All these things are plants that if we don't get the seed exposed to some moisture, we won't see sprouting in action, and therefore we won't see a plant until later. And now it's already behind the eight ball, if you will. Now, the nice part about this category of slow germ is that there are ways to speed this up if we can't hit the mark here in February. So not all hope is lost if slow germination rates are the issue. So what I'm trying to say is when we talk about the germination rate category, it's not necessarily you have to run to the store and start these seeds, but you have to plan for potentially using things like an Instapot, as oddly as that sounds, or a yogurt maker to actually speed up that germination rate, to get things moving faster so you can be in the same position that you would be if you would have started these in February. So that's category number one. Category number two is plant physiology. Now, the juvenile stage of a plant is that stage where it's no longer a seedling, but it's not yet an adult plant. And it's mostly focusing on biomass accumulation. And there's two places that biomass can be put on: above ground, below ground. Now, when it comes to seeds we start in February, the plant physiology we're looking at in a juvenile stage is usually more root biomass. So they are putting on a lot of root material rather than leaf material. So these plants oftentimes will kind of look like they're doing a whole heck of nothing. They look like they're just sitting there waiting. And you usually are getting frustrated with these guys because all you see is two cotyledons for the longest time possible. It's because they're doing a lot of work underground. And these guys are ones we start in these earlier months. The other category and the last category is ones that we actually don't have germination issues with, and we don't actually have a long juvenile stage. These seeds just start and go just like they would any other seed out there. The thing is, though, is we are aiming for more biomass for our own pleasure. So these are plants where we want to start them, and we obviously want them to get large and big here in the summer. And therefore, we want to start them early so they can accumulate that biomass up so that when they get put outside, they're a bigger plant, and then they can really thrive and survive and take off into oblivion. So I will tell you if these are last call plants. I will tell you if these are plants where we can wait a little bit versus ones that if you just chose to not start until May, for example, you'd be just fine. You just have a smaller plant. So let's start off with the first category. And this category is the ones where you're getting to be a little bit long in the tooth. And I would personally consider them to be last call. The reason for that is because these have a long juvenile stage. These are plants that appear to be doing not a lot, but underground are doing a lot. And these can include things like onions from seed, shallots from seed, leeks from seed, celery, and celeriac. So you can grow all 5 of these now, and you can get some really beautiful results. If you start these later than February, you can expect a much smaller yield. And when you plant an onion seed, your expectation should be kind of like spring onion size onions by the end of the year. The beauty about these guys having the longer juvenile stage, however, is that, for example, onions are best put outdoors earlier. They don't like a warm soil and they don't really like hot temps. So if we can transplant them outdoors long before our first frost date or our last frost date, even better. So it's not like they're going to clog up the greenhouse. They're not going to clog up your growing area because we can get them outdoors a little bit quicker, but we do need to start them earlier. Okay, so the next category falls under long germination rate plants. And you guessed it, this can include peppers, but it also includes things like eggplants or okra. Now, these guys need substantial heat in order to germinate. You can't just put a grow light on them and expect them to germinate in a fast manner. Beauty of starting these in February is that if you chose to go heat matchless, you can very easily get them to germinate. You're going to have lower germination rates, so you're going to plant more than you normally would, but you're ahead enough that you're not going to run into major issues that you would normally run into if you were to start these later, such as like March or April. So these guys with the longer germination rate don't have much issue putting on biomass once they have established. So they don't have a very prolonged juvenile phase by any stretch of the imagination. So that's not so much the issue. If you have a heat match, you could put these guys off, like I said, until that March time. And then if you do have access to things like a yogurt maker, as weird as that sounds, you could actually push these off into April because you can really expedite the seed germination process by like literal weeks. Now, if you are looking for a big harvest and you're looking for a big plant, you need to use a heat mat in February and you need to start them in February. If you don't have a heat mat, but you want to grow peppers and you just want to grow regular sized ones, then actually starting these here in February is going to be very important. If you don't have a heat mat, you don't intend to get one, you absolutely must start these seeds in February because you are not going to get any sort of a yield. A good rule of thumb is that things like sweet bell peppers tend to germinate a little bit quicker than some of these really hot guys out there. So really warm rated peppers tend to take a longer time to germinate. And the difference between a sweet bell pepper and some crazy habanero that's been, bred to be obnoxiously warm, it's quite drastic. It can be several weeks actually in difference when it comes to how they germinate or when they germinate. With slow germinators and beginner gardeners, I see a lot of worry and concern of seeds being rotted because there's no action. So oftentimes, beginner gardeners will either throw out trays that are just on the verge of taking off. They will dig around in trays, which actually will disrupt that initial root that's coming out and ultimately kill that little seedling off because that is literally the only gas in the tank it does have. So if you can see yourself getting anxious and wanting to look at the seed or wanting to see action, I actually wouldn't start these inside of any containers. I would start them inside of a paper towel, inside of a Ziploc bag, zip it up, tape it to the window is actually a great way to get that heat effect from the sun, or you can put it on top of a register, or you can put it on top of a heat mat, and that will allow these to germinate and it will allow you to visually see what's going on. When you start getting action, all you're going to do is actually remove the paper towel and the seed. Don't try to separate the two because paper towel is just going to decompose, and just pop that into a container and then let it go from there. This helps reduce that kind of initial what's going on that you tend to see with these guys that take their sweet time getting going. Other ones that fall into this really slow germination phase, but also comboed with a really slow juvenile phase, are things like lavender and rosemary, along with pretty much any sort of woody herb. So these guys, it is last call to get them started. And they're oftentimes, in my opinion, best just purchased as a plant from the nursery. I find that it's way too much time, money, and sanity to invest in these sorts of plants that are so stubborn on so many different fronts. But you guys could do with that information what you will. That's just my personal opinion. The other one that has just a slow juvenile phase and not necessarily a slow germination phase can include artichokes. So there are perennial artichokes or annual artichokes. Right now, it's kind of last call for those guys if you want to grow them either ornamentally or for consuming. Plants that fall under the category of just growing them now because we want a big plant is pretty much every single herb out there and or trailing greenery plants. So we're talking things like sweet potato vines, basils, peppermints, chives, anything that you use as like a filler or a spiller. So watering dudes, that sort of thing. All of these guys are best started now because it allows them to accumulate a lot of biomass and ultimately allows you to transplant a larger plant in the spring. So your next category is a little bit interesting. It's not for the faint of heart. It's for your expert gardeners. So if you have hurt feelings very easily, this is not the category you want to go with, but it can be a fun category to experiment with. And that is literally starting your perennials that normally only flower in the second season, starting them now to allow for a false winter, which in turn tricks the plant into thinking that this summer, 2026, is actually their second summer of life. So what you're going to do is you're going to start these guys off. You're going to allow them to grow as big and beautiful as possible. But while it's still cold, not necessarily freezing cold, but cooler, long before your last frost or your first frost date or your last frost date, you're going to put them outdoors. This is going to cool the plant down. And then what happens next is quite interesting because the plant will begin to think it's wintertime. And what it will do is it's going to slow down its root growth, its foliage growth, all of it. And this chemically is going to signal to the plant that it's to a dormancy. But once it warms up again, it's forced out of that dormancy and into a growth phase. And it's convinced now that it's in its second season and therefore it's going to flower. So it's a really cool experiment. It's called like a false winter, if you will. And so it's something you can give a shot. But again, it's not for the faint of heart because it could go incredibly wrong as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next category is actually flowers. So right now is a great time to start a number of different flowers. This can include violets, pansies, snapdragons, petunias, verbena, literally any flower you can think of. February and March are the time to start them. Now, if you start them here in February, you can expect a very large plant. So if we're talking like a mounding or a trailing plant, expect big if you're going to start them now. You don't want that. You don't have the room for that. Then I would encourage you waiting a month. So this is not last call for these guys. So I'm going to do an entire video on this, but for these kind of smaller seeds, flowers, that sort of thing, I actually don't use potting soil at all. I don't use like your regular cells. I use vermiculite in a shallow tray. So I'm going to do a separate video on that, but that's something that can be very helpful in ensuring success over using just your classics, if you will. So here's my words to the wise when it comes to February and seed starting. You're starting to get excited. I understand that. I've done this in the past before, but I don't want you to make the same mistakes. February, do not start tomatoes. For the love of God, do not start tomatoes. You will regret that enormously. Secondly, is if you don't have the proper lighting, do not start seeds because they will become leggy and overgrown. You're better off starting things later in the year and then letting them catch up because they will. Geek Crew, please comment down below so every beginner knows exactly what I'm talking about. These plants will catch up very fast once they get outside in the same conditions, and you won't even know the difference by the end of the season or even mid-season. Next up, say you started the seeds and you realized you started them too early. They're starting to grow too quickly. What you need to do is you just need to cool down the area ambiently. So whether this means transitioning them to the floor of your basement or your garage, putting them outdoors in a cooler shed, that sort of thing, just cooler ambient air is going to help to slow down that growth and in turn slow down its usage or its need for things like light and space, which are kind of the two key issues we see when seed starting. There's watering is usually not an issue. Containers aren't an issue. Soil isn't an issue. It's space and light that tend to be the problem. This list is not exhaustive by any means necessary. So Geek Crew, please let people know in the comments down below what seeds you're going to be starting in February. And if you want to know what varieties you should be starting in a cold climate, because variety matters if you want success, you can go and check out this video right here. And that is what Google says you should watch. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.